How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards, and trans rights supporting channel. If you don't support that shit, you can get the fuck out of here. This is Broad City Season 2, episode... What fucking number is this? I'm not sure what number it is. 7. We're on episode 7. Citizenship. Space Citizenship. I think that Jaime is already a citizen, but I could be wrong about that. So that's the only direction I could think it could go in, getting Jaime citizenship. Meanwhile, to do it, we have to go on a actual ship. Or, you know, maybe it won't have to do with the citizenship at all, and it is just the pun, citizens on a ship. But I don't know what that would mean. Like, is it just... There's got to be the double meaning of it also has to do with citizenship. And if it's that, the only thing I can think is Jaime. So that's not much of a guess, but it's the only guess I got. So if you want to see the full length, check it out on the Patreon for $4 a month. All right. Oh, this was a really good one. Oh, was this one better than... I think FOMO was the one that I said was my favorite before this, or maybe it was Knockoffs. Knockoffs and FOMO were both really good episodes. I don't know if this one beats them out, but it's close. It's a really, really good one. Extreme contender for favorite of the season. And yeah, our cold open for this one actually tied right into the episode itself, which we don't normally get, which I think also helped a bit. You know, the cold opens most of the time are such a standalone joke, and a lot of times I mostly cut them out, like most of it out of the reaction that goes up, just because there's not, you know, they're not even that good of cold opens or anything. But some of them are, but you know what I mean. There's plenty of other better ones. So having this be the cold open that ties into the episode itself, or even when it's a cold open that is lightly related to the episode, I think those are so much better than the standalone ones. And so I've been saying I wanted more Jaime focus. We got more Jaime focus. I love this outfit. You know, he's going for like the classic, like old-timey American. Like, see, he looks like the Six Flags guy. You know, he's going for the very like old 80s, you know, vibe. I mean, maybe even earlier than that, way earlier than 80s. What am I talking about? Once again, Abby wearing the same, like, this blue dress that she just has anytime she wants to dress up fancy, which, again, I appreciate this consistency of her only having this one outfit, and this, like, one, you know, hairstyle that she usually wears, the purse, the shoes, and all that, whereas Alana continues to have all these different types of outfits. She changes her hair every single episode, and all that's it. Oh, it really makes them stand out. And Lincoln being... You know, he stood out from, like, the lawyers on the boat, even though he is very similar. You know, he stands out, of course, just by being black, and which you don't see a lot of those. And then he has the very, like, the rest of them are wearing very, like a dress shirt. Like, he has the blazer over his dress shirt, while the rest of them are just kind of in dress shirts and shorts or longer pants with, like, the, you know, like you said, the seafood belt buckles and the, like, last episode we actually just talked about how good Hannibal Buress looks, or specifically Lincoln, but also Hannibal Buress just looks in, like, themed clothing, but the belts I think would be too much. The belt is never a good themed. You can't have a themed belt. I'm sorry, you just can't. Belt buckle, maybe, but the belt itself, you can't, you know, it does never gonna look good. Ties are the best. Ties are the easiest to have themed something that looks good. Ties and a shirt, obviously. Those two are the easiest. But yeah, so Lincoln is standing out in such, like, subtle ways, you know, from the rest of them. Again, the show is great with the outfit coordination and everything, and making them all pop in whatever circumstance they may be in. It really doesn't matter what place they're in, they feel out of place. And then setting up, like, characters throughout this episode that we then because it was a bottle episode, everybody's on this boat, we can keep showing characters throughout that then we see just a light thing happening in the background with them, or, you know, usually from when we were just, you know, walking and everybody having sex, and got to pay that off. So yeah, a lot of, like, just tightness to this episode. like the hand that grabbed the shrimp, it is, now that I look at it, it is definitely Bevers. Like, yeah, it's unmistakably Bevers looking at it. Hopefully I'll remember to put this up, but if not, it's got the hair on his arm. It is extremely like not muscular, but it's got, it's got Bevers like humph to it. Bevers isn't like obese or anything, but he's definitely like, fat. He's got humph to him. And yeah, you can see Abby and them in the background even of this shot. Didn't even notice that. But yeah, like, that's not Jaime's hand, even if you couldn't see Jaime in the background there, and that certainly ain't Lincoln's hand. But, so that's a good, setup there of that, and then seeing the payoff later. I mean, it could have just been anybody's hand, to be fair. It doesn't have to be Bever's hand, but I think that, makes the most sense. I couldn't, relate to some of, like, the New York jokes in this episode, which there was a bit of, but, aside from that, jokes were good. And yeah, I'm glad that I've gotten to the rhythm of the show, that absolutely knowing we're going to do the child's cartoon thing of never seeing Melody. Melody is just going to be like the parents in a cartoon, like in Cow and Chicken. What was that called? What was that cartoon called? Where, most of the time the parents will just be like, from here up, you never see. And I think that's what Melody's going to be. Was it Melanie or Melody? I think it's Melanie. But yeah, she's just gonna be, obscured by light, or, as we thought, behind the door of the bathroom, but then even then, nope, it turns out to be Ilana. And then I thought, okay, then who did end up talking to Melanie? But that didn't get wrapped up. That was not like a tight, got wrapped up thing. I don't know who it could have possibly been otherwise, but, I don't know what I would have preferred them to do, because it's not really like they had anything else to work with there, but still, it's worth mentioning. And they did a double bottle episode. I can't believe it. They nailed, and they did the double bottle episode. Episode starts off with just our four, biggest main characters. They go on the boat, then we get back to Bevers, our other, like, sort of mainish character, and the boat then acts as our bottle episode. Everybody's on the boat the whole episode, bottle episode being all the characters are contained to one smallish space for the whole episode. Then they confine themselves to an even smaller space within the, I don't remember the name for it, the place where you keep the alcohol and all that. There's a name for that sort of place, but I can't. It's not a cellar like here. But yeah, the winery. No, I don't think that's the correct term. Whatever. Either way, they double bottle themselves, lock themselves in. And I'm glad that it wasn't, like, as much time as we spent before they went in there, we spent about that much time once they got out as well. So we had a nice sandwich of time of, being on the boat, being in a tighter space, getting out of that tighter space, but still being in a bottle, and then, the end. And yeah, that was, and yeah, both like end caps, the cold open and like the cold end, if you will, that's not the right term, the like cut to commercial, then we cut back from commercial for just like a minute or two left in the episode. Those two, points being off of the boat also help. It's a real extreme just bell curve. Really, really nice episode. I don't know who the writer of it was, or, like who the overall, writer was, but they did a very, very good job with this one. I'm not sure what was going on in that locked-in little wine area, because it seemed like at times it was cold and then at times it was hot, because like Ilana took off her jacket and then wrapped it like around her torso like a blanket almost, like covering up more of her. And then later they were all like, even what's his name? Bevers took off like his big jacket, and everybody looked more disheveled and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It seemed like it was cold, and then it started getting hotter for some reason. I'm not sure. But yeah, sadly, Ilana did talk Bevers. Like, I was going along with her first, and then I'm like, all right, this goes along with her. This goes against what we want him to do. So if I was in that same scenario, I probably would have messed it up just as much as Ilana did. So I can't blame her too much for that. But yeah, it would have been nice, Bevers, nice in the sense of nice for Abby, not nice in the sense of probably would make the show not as interesting anymore, but gotta, that's like our main goal of the series, just get Bevers out of this house. That's really like our main two plot lines. Like if there are character wants, Abby's want is get to be a trainer at her job, get Bevers out of the house. Alana's wants are she wants Abby, and she doesn't want Lincoln, in the sense that she doesn't want it permanently. And those are really her two things. Like, she doesn't really have a work want at all. She doesn't really have a career want in any way. So it is, Abby used to have the Jeremy want, which is now entirely gone. So yeah, she has like, hers are entirely now unrelationship focused. So now we can focus more on Alana's relationship stuff, hopefully. So this episode, very surprising. I thought it was going to be the generic Lincoln and her at the end, or she realizes at the end that her and Lincoln actually do make a really good couple and they would work, blah, blah, but I don't know. It would be fascinating to see them as a couple, because Alana is so not a kind of person who would be in a couple kind of relationship. So, but Lincoln, as we just saw last episode, he didn't specifically, it was kind of weird in how it went down, but he said like, oh, I would get married here. Oh, don't tell Alana that. Which is weird, why would he say don't tell Alana that unless he was thinking that he would want to marry Alana there? So, that was the only reason I said that earlier. But, I'm not sure what his actual true thing would be, what his true want would be. If he actually does want full marriage, if he just wants a relationship, or who knows. But he's still just happy being a fuck buddy, which, I get it, especially with Alana. What else? Jaime and Lincoln's relationship this episode, they have not really got to spend much time together at all. They've never really reacted, maybe like a line or two, but that's about it. They at the party with the Hurricane Wanda thing, they talked like once there, and that's about it. So, getting to see what their relationship would be like with everybody else being separated from them. And it wasn't a true bottle episode. Now that I think about it, I say they packed it into a tighter bottle episode, but being able to cut back to Jaime and I just said his name, Jaime Lincoln, outside on the boat, makes it not as double bottle episode-y, but I'll still allow it. But yeah, Jaime seemed to have a hell of a lot of fun this episode. The American accent bit was the greatest. That was one of the funniest parts of the episode. He's so good at it, and I love the way that he contorts his face as he does it, too. And yeah, glad he awakened something in that guy. Hopefully that guy can have a better time now. And yeah, Abby says that she wants someone to love her in the way that Bevers loves Melanie, which is Alana. But I mean, it really boils down to, is Abby weirded out by it because it's Alana? Is she weirded out by it because she's not actually into women at all? Because it doesn't seem like that's true. It seems like that's what Abby says, but it seems like that's more... I mean, Abby is an extremely self-conscious person. That's her whole character. It seems like she's more in denial, which is why I think that's where we're going in the series later on. But who knows? There's no way to really know what's going on in Abby's head as far as that is concerned. But Jaime is now an actual citizen. I love the tightness of the bringing back the American flag contest. It's such a crazy shot, too, because his eyes are so wide during it. He looks absolutely insane. God, it's such a weird shot where they're all just sitting around and they go, oh, it's here now. Statue of Liberty, so big behind them. I mean, that would have been there for like 30 minutes. But yeah, I've never been on a I've been on a cruise ship, but I've never been on a boat like this. Been on a fishing boat, been on a cruise ship, but never been on like a yacht, so... Not that I can really say about any of that sort of stuff. The, like, free drinks and everything, it was not free drinks, but I was a kid, so I, someone was already paying for the drink, so I could just, have, like, this card that was just like, yes, we paid for this card, and the card is basically saying you have free drinks. So I could just, that's the only thing I'm familiar with just being able to walk around and just, anywhere you go, just grab a drink somewhere. And, of course, I'm a kid, so it's not alcoholic. It was specifically non-alcoholic, it was an alcoholic drink, but it was non-alcoholic, which was the only time I have ever even had anything like that, because I don't even drink alcohol now that I am way past that age. But, not way past that age. Boy, that makes me sound so much older than I am. But, yeah. I've also never had to do anything where my name is on a list. I have only been on a date once, where the guy was like, we got there, and then he was like, oh, I reserved it, my name is on the list. It was a fancy-ass diner place, and not my kind of style at all. Definitely, it was a person I dated for like a week, because not my kind. Very like the lawyers here, except, not as repressing of their sexuality. But, yeah, I'm so uncomfortable around those, like, high-class places. It's too weird. I can't handle it. If I had to go up to someone and be like, oh, my name is on the list, I would die. I can't. Oh, my nerves are not made for that. But yeah, that's really it. A lot of heteronormative comedy in this one. Real weird about that. But, yeah, I don't really have anything to say about that. It was weird. It was cringe. I'll see you guys for the next one. Till then, get the fuck out of here.